The year is 1943. Europe is burning. Cities crumble under bombs. Families vanish overnight. And in the shadows, a quieter war is being fought. A war of whispers, of secrets, of courage that history almost forgot. This is the story of a girl. She was only 17. She carried no rifle. She wore no uniform. And yet, she became more dangerous than any soldier. Her name was Lydia, and this is the story of how she chose death over betrayal. Chapter 1: The Occupation. Lydia was born in a small village tucked between forests and farmland in Eastern Europe. Before the war, her life was simple: morning bread baked by her mother, her father's quiet laughter at the dinner table, school books, dreams, and the soft rhythm of ordinary days. But war does not ask permission. When the German forces arrived, everything changed. Boots replaced birdsong. Orders replaced conversation. Fear replaced freedom. The village was occupied within days. Soldiers set up checkpoints. Homes were searched. Anyone suspected of resistance disappeared. At first, Lydia watched, silent, observant. But beneath her quiet gaze, something was growing. Not fear, defiance. Chapter 2: The First Choice. It began with something small, a folded piece of paper. One evening, as Lydia returned from fetching water, a man stopped her. He was older, tired, and careful with his words. "You're quick," he said, "and no one notices you." He handed her the note. "Take this to the mill. Give it only to the woman with the red scarf." Lydia hesitated. She knew what this meant. This was resistance. If she was caught, there would be no trial, no mercy, just death. But she took the paper, and in that moment, her life changed forever. Chapter 3: Becoming Invisible. Lydia became a courier. She carried messages hidden in bread, sewn into clothing, memorized in silence. She learned routes through forests. She learned how to read faces. She learned when to speak and when to vanish. To the soldiers, she was just a girl, 17, harmless. That illusion became her greatest weapon. Weeks turned into months. The resistance grew stronger. And so did the danger. Chapter 4: The Network. The resistance was fragile. Farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, people who had once lived ordinary lives, now risking everything. Lydia connected them. She was the thread. Without her, messages would not arrive. Plans would fail. Lives would be lost. She knew names. She knew locations. She knew everything. And that made her the most valuable target in the region. Chapter 5: The Betrayal. It happened on a cold morning. The air was sharp, still, too still. Lydia sensed it before she saw it. Soldiers, waiting. Someone had talked. She tried to run, but it was too late. They surrounded her. Hands grabbed her arms. A rifle pressed into her back. She did not scream. She did not plead. She only looked and understood. This was the end of one life and the beginning of something far worse. Chapter 6: Interrogation. They took her to a military outpost. Cold walls, no windows, no comfort, only questions. Names, locations, who do you work for? Lydia said nothing. At first, they were patient. Then, they were not. Hours turned into days. They threatened her family. They promised her freedom. They lied. Still, she said nothing. Chapter 7: The Breaking Point. They brought in a list, names they suspected. They placed it in front of her. All you have to do is confirm. One word, a nod, a whisper. That was all it would take, and dozens of people would die. Friends, neighbors, the woman with the red scarf, the man who first trusted her, everyone. Lydia stared at the list. Her hands trembled. For the first time, she was afraid, not of death, but of failing. Chapter 8: The Final Decision. That night she was left alone. No guards, no questions, just silence, and the weight of everything she carried. She knew the truth. She would not survive. Not tomorrow. Not the next day. They would keep asking, until she broke, or until she died, unless she chose first. Chapter 9. The Choice. The next morning they came again. Last chance. The officer leaned close. "You're just a child," he said. "This is not your war." Lydia looked at him. For the first time, she spoke. "No," she said quietly. "It is." And then she made her choice. She refused again, and again, and again, until there was nothing left to take from her. Chapter 10. The End. They executed her shortly after. No ceremony, no record marked with her name. She was 17. Chapter 11. What she protected. But the network survived. The names were never confirmed. The resistance continued. Sabotage missions succeeded. Lives were saved. Messages still moved through the shadows because of her silence, because of her choice. Closing reflection. Slow, emotional. History remembers generals. It remembers battles. It remembers victories. But sometimes the fate of many rests in the hands of one. A girl, 17 years old, no weapon, no power, only a choice. And when the moment came, she chose death over betrayal. And because she did, others lived to tell the story.